This is Cheryl Ferrone, one of the founders and co-directors of PTP NYC, aka Potomac Theater Project. And I am very pleased to welcome you to the concluding event of our 2020 online season. If you've been with us for the past month, you've seen work by William Shakespeare, Howard Barker, and Dan O'Brien, and you will now see a piece from Caryl Churchill. And if you haven't been with us, take the opportunity to come back, and hopefully we will be live next year. We've achieved a kind of intimacy and a kind of awareness of the importance of the work, a re-engaging of the work through this process. But it's also only built in us the desire to be sharing more than computer space and visuals with you. So, donate to us. Some of that money will also go to National Black Theater, so you will be supporting and helping the return of theater companies. Tonight's production, Far Away by Caryl Churchill, premiered in November of 2000. It will reverberate with you, and it will reverberate with the times that we live in. Churchill respects her audiences, so you'll also laugh, and you will also feel chilled. And hopefully you'll take something from this work that is of value to you, whatever that is. Thank you for being here. Come back and see us three-dimensionally.
I can't sleep.
It's the strange bed.
No, I like different places.
Are you cold?
No,
Or do you want a drink?
I think I am cold.
That's easy enough then. There are extra blankets in the cupboard.
Is it late?
That's two.
Are you going to bed?
Do you want a hot drink?
No, thank you.
Well, I should go to bed then.
Yes.
It's always odd in a new place. When you've been here a week, you'll look back on tonight and it won't seem the same at all.
I've been to a lot of places. I've stayed with friends at their houses. I don't miss my parents if you think that.
Do you miss your dog?
I miss the cat, I think.
Does it sleep on your bed?
No, because I chase it off, but it gets in if the door is not properly shut. You think you've shut the door, but it hasn't caught, and she pushes it open in the night.
Come here a minute. You're shivering. Are you hot?
No, I'm all right.
You're overtired. Go to bed. I'm going to bed myself.
I went out
When? Just now?
just now.
No wonder you're cold. It's hot in the daytime here, but it gets cold at night.
The stars are brighter here than at home.
It's because there are no street lights.
I couldn't see much.
No, I don't expect you could. How did you get out? I didn't hear the door.
I went out the window.
Oh, I'm not sure I like that.
No, it's quite safe. There's a roof and a tree.
When people go to bed, they should stay in bed. Do you climb out of the windows at home?
I can't at home because... No, I don't.
I'm responsible for you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, that's enough adventures for one night. You'll sleep now. Off you go. Look at you. You're asleep on your feet.
There was a reason.
For going out?
I heard a noise.
An owl?
shriek.
An owl, then. There are all sorts of birds here. You might see a golden oriole. People come here specially to watch birds. We sometimes make tea or coffee or sell bottles of water because there's no cafe, and people don't expect that, and they get thirsty. You'll see in the morning what a beautiful place it is.
It was more like a person screaming.
Well, it is like a person screaming when you hear an owl.
It was a person screaming.
Poor Caryl, what a fright you must have had, imagining you heard somebody screaming. You should have come straight down here to me.
I wanted to see.
It was dark.
Yes, but I did see.
Now, what did you imagine you saw in the dark?
I saw my uncle.
Yeah, I expect you did. He likes a breath of air. He wasn't screaming, I hope.
No.
Well, that's all right then. Did you talk to him? I expect you were frightened he'd say, "What are you doing out of your bed so late?"
I stayed in the tree.
He didn't see you?
No.
Then he'll be surprised, won't he? Oh, he'll laugh when he hears you were up in the tree. He'll be cross, but he doesn't mean it. It's the sort of thing he did when he was a boy. So, bed now. I'll go up too.
He was pushing someone. He was bundling someone into a shed.
Well, he must have been putting a big sack in the shed. He works too late.
Not sure if it was a woman. It could have been a young man.
Well, I have to tell you, when you've been married as long as I have, there are things people get up to. It's natural. It's nothing bad. That's just friends of his your uncle is having a little party with.
Was it a party?
Just a little party.
Yes, because there wasn't just that one person.
No, there'd be a few of his friends.
There was a lorry.
Yes, I expect there was.
When I put my ear against the side of the lorry, I heard crying inside.
How could you do that from up in the tree?
I got down from the tree. I went to the lorry after I looked in the window of the shed.
There might be things that are not your business when you're a visitor in someone else's house.
Yes, I'd rather not have seen. I'm sorry.
Nobody saw you?
They were thinking about themselves.
I think it's lucky nobody saw you.
If it's a party, why was there so much blood?
There isn't any blood.
Yes,
Where?
on the ground.
In the dark. How would you see that in the dark?
I slipped in it. I mostly wiped it off.
That's where the dog got run over this afternoon.
Wouldn't it have dried up?
Not if the ground was muddy.
What sort of dog?
A big dog, a big mongrel.
It's awful. It must be very sad. Had you had him long?
No, he was young. He ran out. He was never very obedient. A lorry was backing up.
What was his name?
Flash.
What color was he?
Black with a bit of white.
Why were the children in the shed?
What children?
Don't you know what children?
Oh, how could you see children?
There was a light on. That's how I could see the blood inside the shed. I could see the faces and which ones had blood on.
You found out something secret. You know that, don't you?
Yes.
Something you shouldn't know.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Something you must never talk about, or you could put people's lives in danger.
Why? Who from? From my uncle?
Of course not from your uncle.
From you?
Of course not from me. Are you mad? I'm going to tell you what's going on. Your uncle is helping those people. He's helping them escape. He's giving them shelter. Some of them were still in the lorry. That's why they were crying. Your uncle's going to take all of them into the shed, and then they'll be all right.
There was blood on their faces.
Well, that's from before. That's because they were attacked by the people your uncle is saving them from.
There was blood on the ground.
Well, one of them was injured very badly, but your uncle bandaged him up.
He's helping them.
That's right.
There wasn't a dog. There wasn't a party.
No. I'm trusting you with the truth now. You must never talk about it, or you could put your uncle's life in danger, and mine, and even your own. You won't even say anything to your parents.
Why did you have me to stay if you got this secret going on?
The lorry should have come yesterday. It won't happen again while you're here.
It can now because I know. You don't have to stop for me. I could help Uncle in the shed and look after them.
No, he must do it himself. But thank you for offering. It's very kind of you. So, after all that excitement, do you think you could go back to bed?
Why was Uncle hitting them?
Hitting who?
He was hitting a man with a stick. I think the stick was metal. He hit one of the children.
Well, that was one of the people in the lorry. He was not really one of them. He was a traitor. He was pretending. He was going to betray them. They found out and told your uncle. Then he attacked your uncle. He attacked the other people. Your uncle had to fight him.
That's why there was so much blood.
Yes, it had to be done to save the others.
He hit one of the children.
Well, that would have been the child of the traitor. Or sometimes you get children who even betray their parents.
What's going to happen?
Well, they'll go off in the lorry early in the morning.
Where to?
Where they're escaping to. You don't want to have to keep any more secrets.
He only hit the traitors.
Of course. I'm not surprised you couldn't sleep. What an upsetting thing to see. But now you understand. It's not so bad. You're part of a big movement now to make things better. Well, you can be proud of that. You can look at the stars and think, here we are in our little bit of space, and I'm on the side of the people who are putting things right, and your soul will expand right into the sky.
Can't I help?
Oh, you can help me clean up in the morning. Will you do that?
Yes.
So you better get some sleep.
There's plenty of blue.
I think I'm starting with black.
Color always wins.
I will have color. I'm starting with black to set the color off.
I did one last week that was an abstract picture of the street. Blue for the buses, yellow for the flats, red for the leaves, gray for the sky. Nobody got it, but I knew what it was. There's little satisfactions to be had.
Don't you enjoy it?
You're new, aren't you?
This is my first hat. My first professional hat.
Did you do hat at college?
My degree hat was a giraffe 6 feet tall.
You won't have time to do something like that in a week.
I know.
We used to get 2 weeks, and then they took it down to one. And now they're talking about cutting a day.
So we'd get an extra day off?
We'd get a day's less money. Wouldn't make such good hats.
Can they do that?
You'd oppose it, would you?
I've only just started.
You'll find there's a lot wrong with this place.
I thought it was one of the best jobs.
It is. Do you know where to go for lunch?
I think there's a canteen, isn't there?
There is, but we don't go there. I'll show you where to go.
Your turn.
I go for a swim in the river before work.
Isn't it dangerous?
Your turn.
I've got a pilot's license.
I stay up till 4 every morning watching the trials.
I'm getting a room in a subway.
I've got my own place.
Have you?
Do you want to see it? That's coming on.
I don't understand yours, but I like the feather.
I'm not trying. I've been here too long.
Will you leave?
My turn. There's something wrong with how we get the contracts.
But we want the contracts.
But what if we don't deserve them? What if our work really isn't the best?
So what's going on?
I'll just say a certain person's brother-in-law. Where does he work, do you think?
Where does he work?
I'm not talking about it here. Tell me something else.
I don't like staying in the evenings and watching trials.
I watch them at night after I come back.
Back from where?
Where do you like? I don't like animal hats myself.
I was a student.
Abstract hats are back in a big way.
I've always liked abstract hats.
You must not have noticed when everyone hated them.
It was probably before my time. It's just, if you're going on about it all the time, I don't know why you don't do something about it.
This is your third day?
The management's corrupt, you've told me. We're too low paid, you've told me.
Too much green.
It's meant to be too much green.
I noticed you looking at that Fair Boys hat. I hope you told him it was derivative. I'm the only person in this place who's got any principles. Don't tell me I should do something. I spend my days wondering what to do.
So you'll probably come up with something.
That's beautiful.
You like it?
I do.
I like yours too.
You don't have to say that. It's not one of my best.
No, it's got, I don't know, it's a confident hat.
I've been doing parades for 6 years. So I'm a valued old hand. So when I go and speak with a certain person, he might pay attention.
You're going to speak to him?
I have an appointment after work.
You might lose your job.
I might.
I'm impressed.
That was the idea.
You mentioned a brother-in-law?
So first, I'll talk about the money, and then I'll just touch in the brother-in-law. I have a friend who's a journalist.
Will you touch in the journalist?
I might imply something without giving the journalist away. It might be better if he can't trace the journalist back to me.
No, he will suspect.
However much he suspects. One thing if I lost my job,
What's that?
I'd miss you.
Already? I still can't believe it!
No one's ever won in their first week before.
Oh, it's all going to be downhill from now on.
You can't win every week.
That's what I mean.
No, but you'll do a fantastic body of work while you're here.
Sometimes I think it's a pity that more aren't kept.
There'd be too many. What would they do with them?
They could reuse them.
Exactly, and then we'd be out of work.
It seems so sad to burn them with the bodies.
No, I think that's the joy of it. The hats are ephemeral. It's like a metaphor for something or other.
Well, life.
Well, life. There you are. Out of nearly 300 hats I've made here, I've only had 3 win and go to the museum, but that's never bothered me. You make beauty and it disappears. I love that.
You're so...
What?
You make me think in different ways. Like, I'd never have thought about how this place is run, and now I see how important it is.
I think it did impress a certain person that I was speaking from the high moral ground.
So tell me again exactly what he said at the end.
These things must be thought about.
I think that's encouraging.
It could mean he'll think how to get rid of me.
That's a fantastic shape to start from.
It's a new one for me. I'm getting inspired by you.
There's still the journalist. If he looks into it a bit more, we could expose the corrupt financial basis of the whole hat industry. Not just this place, I bet the whole industry is dodgy.
Do you think so?
I think we should find out.
You've changed my life. Do you know that?
If you lose your job, I'll resign.
We might not get jobs in hats again.
There's other parades.
But I think you're a hat genius.
Unless all the parades are corrupt.
I love these beads. Use these beads.
No, you have them.
No, you.
You were right to poison the wasps.
Yes. I think all the wasps have got to go.
Yeah. I was outside yesterday on the edge of the wood when a shadow came over, and it was a cloud of butterflies. And they came down just beyond me. The trees and bushes were red with them. Two of them clung to my arm. I was terrified. One got in my hair. I managed to squash them.
I haven't had a problem with butterflies.
Oh, they can cover your face. The Romans used to commit suicide with gold leaf. Just flip it down their throat and it covered their windpipe. I think of that with butterflies.
I was passing an orchard. There were horses standing under the trees, and suddenly wasps attacked them out of the plums. There were the horses galloping by, screaming, with their heads made of wasp. I wish she'd wake up.
We don't know how long she'd been walking.
She was right to come.
You don't go walking off in the middle of a war.
You do if you're escaping.
You don't know that she's escaping.
She was getting to a place of safety to regroup.
Is this a place of safety?
Relatively, yes, of course it is. Everyone thinks it's just a house.
Cats have come in on the side of the French.
Never like cats. They smell, they scratch. They only like you because you feed them. They bite. I used to have a cat that would suddenly just take some bit of you in his mouth.
Did you know that cats have been killing babies?
Where's that?
In China. They jump in the cots when nobody's watching.
But some cats are still okay.
I don't think so.
No, I know a cat up the road.
No, you must be careful of that.
But we're not exactly on the other side from the French. It's not as if they're the Moroccans and the ants.
It's not as if they're the Venezuelans, the Canadians, and the mosquitoes.
It's not as if they're the engineers, the chefs, the children under 5, the musicians.
The car salesman.
Portuguese car salesman.
Oh, Russian swimmers.
Thai butchers.
Latvian dentists.
No, the Latvian dentists have been doing good work in Cuba. They have a place outside Havana.
But Latvia's been sending pigs to Sweden. The dentists are linked with international dentistry, and that's where their loyalty lies, with the dentists in Dar es Salaam.
We don't argue about Dar es Salaam.
You would attempt to justify the massacre in Dar es Salaam? She's come here because you're here on leave. And if anyone finds out, I'll be held responsible.
It's only till tomorrow. I'll wake her up. I'll give her a few more minutes.
Did you see the program about crocodiles?
Yes, but crocodiles, the way they look after baby crocodiles and carry them down into the water in their mouths.
Don't you think everyone helps their own children?
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be sorry if the crocodiles were one of the sides we have alliances with. They're unstoppable. Come on.
Crocodiles are evil, and it is always right to be opposed to crocodiles. Their skin, their teeth, the foul smell of their mouths from the dead meat. Crocodiles wait until zebras are crossing the river and bite the weak ones with those jaws and pull them down. Crocodiles invade villages at night and take children out of their beds. Crocodiles eat their enemies slowly, biting off the feet, then up to the knees, then up to the genitals. Or if they're in a hurry, they'll go through a town taking off heads. A crocodile can carry a dozen heads back to the river tenderly, like it carries its young, and put them in the water where they bob about like trophies till they rot.
I'm just saying we could use that.
And the fluffy little darling water birds, the smallest one left behind squeaking, wait for me, and always at terrible danger of being eaten. And their mother, who would give her life to save them.
Do we include mallards in this?
Mallards are not a good water bird. They commit rape, and they're on the side of the elephants and the Koreans, but crocodiles are always in the wrong.
Do you think we should wake her or let her sleep? We won't get any time together.
You agree with me about the crocodiles.
What's the matter? You don't know whose side I'm on?
I don't know what you think.
I think what we all think.
Take deer.
You mean sweet little Bambis?
You mean that ironically?
I mean it sarcastically.
Because they burst out of parks and storm down from mountains and terrorize shopping malls. If the does run away when you shoot, they run into somebody else and trample them with their vicious little shining hooves. The fawns get under the feet of shoppers and send them crashing down escalators. The young bucks charge the plate glass windows.
I know to hate deer.
And the old ones, well, do you know how heavy their antlers are? How sharp their prongs are when they twist into teenagers running down the street?
Yes, I do know that.
Is that a deer?
In fact, it was a bear. I don't like being doubted.
It was when the elephants went over to the Dutch. I'd always trusted elephants.
I've shot cattle and children in Ethiopia. I've gassed mixed troops of Spanish, computer programmers, and dogs. I've torn starlings apart with my bare hands. And I like doing it with my bare hands, so don't suggest I'm not reliable.
I'm not saying you can't kill.
And I know it's not all about excitement. I've done boring jobs. I've worked in abattoirs, stunning pigs and musicians, and by the end of the day, your back aches, and all you can see when you close your eyes are people hanging upside down by their feet.
So you'd say the deer are vicious?
We've been over that.
If a hungry deer came into the yard, you wouldn't feed it?
Of course not.
I don't understand that. Because the deer are with us. They have been for 3 weeks.
I didn't know. You said it yourself.
Their natural goodness has come through. You can see it in their soft brown eyes.
That's good news.
You hate the deer. You admire the crocodiles.
I've lost touch because I'm tired.
You must leave.
I'm your family.
Do you think I leave? You can't stay here. They'll be after you. What are you going to say when you go back? You ran off to spend the day with your husband? Everybody has people they love they'd like to see. Or anyway, people they'd rather see than lie in a hollow waiting to be bitten by ants. Are you going back at all? Because if you're not, you might as well shoot me now. Did anyone see you leave? Which way did you come? Were you followed? There are ospreys here who will have seen you arrive. And you're risking your life for you don't know what because he says things that aren't right. Don't you care? Maybe you don't know right from wrong yourself. I mean, what do I know about you after 2 years? I'd like to be glad to see you, but how can I?
Of course birds saw me. Everyone saw me walking along, but nobody knew why. I could have been on a mission. Everyone's moving about and no one knows why. And in fact, I killed 2 cats and a child under 5, so it wasn't that different from a mission. And I don't see why I can't have one day. And then go back. I'll go on to the end after this. It wasn't so much the birds that frightened me, it was the weather. The weather here is on the side of the Japanese. There were thunderstorms all through the mountains. I went through towns I hadn't been before. The rats are bleeding out of their mouths and ears, which is good. And so were the girls by the side of the road. It was tiring there, because everything's been recruited. There were piles of bodies, and if you stopped to find out, there was one killed by coffee, or one killed by pins. They were killed by heroin, petrol, chainsaws, hairspray, bleach, box gloves. The smell of smoke was where we were burning the grass that wouldn't serve. The Bolivians are working with gravity. That's a secret, so as not to spread alarm. But we're getting further with noise, and there's thousands dead of light in Madagascar. It was going to mobilize darkness and silence. That's what I wondered in the night. By the 3rd day, I could hardly walk, but I got down to the river. There was a camp of Chilean soldiers upstream, but they hadn't seen me, and 14 black and white cows downstream having a drink, so I knew I'd have to go straight across. But I didn't know whose side the river was on. It might help me swim, or it might drown me. In the middle, the current was running much faster. The water was brown. I didn't know if that meant anything. I stood on the bank a long time. But I knew it was my only way of getting here. So at last, I put one foot in the river. It was very cold, but so far that was all. When you've just stepped in, you can't tell what's going to happen. The water laps around your ankles in any case.